Hello everyone, Kim Victoria here with today's video being a flip through of this journal. And I made a separate video of the cover. It's in the covers playlist. I wanted to demonstrate making a pillowcase style cover. In that video, I demonstrate that. So I've been going through looking at my stash and projects I started, I haven't finished. So I wanted to start finishing some projects before I start something else. So this came out really fun. I've got my little cheat sheet here to let you know what is inside of this pretty and silly journal because it's all about cats. Now I get, so let's just sort of start at the beginning and go through it, right? It is chunky. You can see that it's very chunky and full of goodies. And so I have a way of making chunky videos. So these are some cat buttons. They're very decorative. They're not really the best as far as buttons are concerned, but they worked quite well for this, and I wanted to use them for the closure for this. So I just had some fun with the yarn, and cats like to play with yarn, so that was one of my thoughts is I wanted to get a little yarn in here. So these are securely hand sewn in along with just kind of fraying out the ends like that. Just having a little fun. It's very soft yarn. And originally when I made this in that video, I'm talking about having this be open, and when I got done making it, it was like so bulky. It was essential to put some kind of a closure that could really wrap around because it is very chunky, very alligator mouth, right? So let's just get going here. So the cover is very plain. I don't have anything inside the front or back. Occasionally, when I make a fabric cover, I will sew pockets in, and it could also be glued in. But this was so much fun just as a fabric. I didn't want to put anything on it. So I just, I have all of this great stuff to play with when it comes to cats. Our family is big into cats. My sister-in-law has lots of crafty stuff that she never used and realizes now she's not going to use. So I'm the beneficiary of all that fun stuff. I did do quite a bit of stitching in this one. It added a nice touch. So we have a couple of envelopes. I left these loose so that it was easy to get in. We have a paper ruffle. And inside, I put a few little extra goodies that if somebody wants to add some embellishment, they can do that. There's some writing spots. So we will be revisiting some of those things. And there's three signatures, and they each have it's not really a theme per se, but a decorative element that's different. In this first signature, I kind of went with these Cliben cats. Now, my sister-in-law, her name's Alice, and she gets cat calendars every year, and then she cuts out those little pictures that are in the back of the calendar. That is a really cool thing to do, to have little pictures, whether it's landscapes or animals or international scenery. It's those little pictures are great for a journal kind of decoration. This journal is 8 inches wide, it's 6.5 inches high, and it's 2.5 inches thick or deep, depending on how you like to think about it. So I did a little tissue paper gluing in a few places. So this is the pictures from the back of the calendar. So we have the Cliben cats. I have quite an array of rubber stamps, so you'll see that throughout. And I popped in a few cards in these pockets. I made a ridiculous amount of 25 tags for this journal. There's also 23 writing spots plus. There's 4 cards like that one. And there are 2 envelopes. This is another thing Alice found. These are great. These are little clips. So on these particular, there's a couple of these pages where because this is so long this way, what I did was I'll show that on the inside, but I cut paper and added on more paper so that it would fill up the length better. So I'm using A2, so I also used some legal size paper. So I just wanted to hinge or put two pages together, and I did that with glue. I didn't sew any of those. Anyway, we have a little waterfall. I just stapled it together, and this was some, let's get this right side out. There we go. And this was just a roll of ribbon, and I always take the wires out. So it's really easy to take wires out. So cut the length and then take the wires out. It's a pretty postcard, and I did just a hinge with it. I didn't have any appropriate washi tape, so I just used my artist archival tape. This is, and the second two signatures will go faster. I'll do the explanation in this one, and then I'll flip through the second two signatures a little faster. So this yellow was a big envelope. So I just cut it down to size, and it's wonderful, you know. It just makes a great pockets. So, and cats love yarn, so I had a little fun with the yarn. This is some real soft stuff. This is a shank button right here. And I put the shank through and just did a little embroidery floss tassel with a charm. So that's just a fun little element in there. Some sewing. This is the other part that I used was Alice does a lot of coloring in coloring books, and of course they're cats. So I made some did some collage and writing cards with her coloring book pages, rubber stamps. Here's the center of this particular signature. We have a little Cliben in there. We have mirror image kitties. And this was from a deck of cards that I no longer have, but those little pieces. So I included some writing pages from notepads. And this whole thing, you can see the crossover here. These were two sheets of paper, and I cut them in half and then figured out how I could fold them so they would be the full width of this journal. And then it created all these little extra pockets. See, there's a little pocket there. And we have a big pocket and this big pocket and the little pocket. And this is a sticker puzzle. So I assembled a sticker puzzle onto a piece of card, and I'm just including the other sticker puzzle, which can be arranged on the back. So just kind of a fun little element. Little bag, some more of that yarn. I can't remember what these are called. They're like a little holograph, or I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, just lots of little writing cards, stickers, some more yarn, another coloring book page as our writing board. And some of these are really hard, so they would make a perfect writing board. There's several of these that are use some heavy cardstock, so then they make a good writing board. Some more Cliben cats, sewing, another little journaling card, one of my rubber stamps. And you see I folded it lengthwise in a wonky direction. I like that. It's kind of fun. Lots of Easter egg dye paper. I wanted to add lots of colors. So this one is a flip out. I glued these two pages together so that it would be extra long and have room for a little flip out. Okay. Tissue paper. There's three of these postcards, and I included them in the signatures as a pocket with some more little notepad paper. So there's signature number 1. And it has a pocket on the back as well, because again, I cut this scrapbook paper in half. So 12 by 12 became 2 pieces, 6 by 12, and overlapped them, and you wind up with a pocket. So I cut out some of the coloring book pages and turned them into journaling spots. And I thought it was kind of cute how the little pocket cutout cradles that face. And again here, so this is all of Alice's coloring. Scrapbook paper, same as this, 6 by 6, 6 by 12, glued together so that I wind up with these nice pockets. Some more of those notepads, so cute. This one is tissue paper, Mod Podged onto just a piece of tea-dyed paper. And in this signature, it's kind of more about cute kittens from whatever calendar she had. This is from the back of a calendar. Lots of cute kittens. And this is another card with envelope, rubber stamp, more cute kittens. And this was a really big blue envelope, and there was still some label attached, so I just covered it up with something. A little more of the other part of the envelope, actually, I think. Either that or a different envelope. So another big, really hard writing card and tag. And yarn and sewing. Another one of those little fun things. And here's the center of this one. So this one is a really big writing card. And there's a lot of recycling junk in here. So like you can see the cardboard here, and I didn't cover that up. So this was some packaging. So I just went ahead and used some packaging throughout. And this is the same as the first one. So this was the card box, but it's a nice little writing spot. And I had these 3 little Cliben cats licking ice cream cones. So I got those out. And there's some more, some sheets of writing paper. This one is a postcard. The other side of the envelope, you can see the structure, everything, made sure it was all glued down. Another big tag. Very sturdy stuff, those. I had one little piece left, so why not include it? There's another one of those little clips with a waterfall. And this one's just a little cardboard. It was from packaging. And here's the back of this signature with some more packaging repurposed. And what happened here, I mean, it's good to have a pocket here, but the tissue paper got really messed up down in this area. And the pattern of it, I don't know, it just didn't lend itself to patching. So instead of trying to patch it, I just put a pocket and covered it up. Okay, this is actually also a pocket, but I don't have anything in that. Another little journaling spot. Some more note paper. And here's the third of these cute cards. The kind of the calendar theme for this signature are yoga cats. She had cut out all the little pictures of the yoga cats. So I just filled this up with the yoga cats. There's another card with envelope. You know, see the sewing throughout. Of course, I learned that from Natasha of Treasure Books. There's another one of those little note places and another one of these. And So I did a couple of these. Again, this was packaging, repurposed packaging. So I've got the charm, the shank button, and this is kind of a fun way to use a shank button. Usually, we want to clip off the shank, but poking it through a hole like this, it's going to be sticking up anyway. So why not make use of that shank? And this is another one of those orange envelopes where I just had to cover up a little bit of the label. And I wanted to make sure there was a lot of writing spots, but also where people could put photos of their own cat or pets in general. And this is the second Joker card from that card deck. Some more note paper. And there's actually two of these. These came from a box of chocolates. So why not, Some of my coffee dyed paper. So I wasn't, I didn't stick with everything necessarily being grungy or anything like that. I just wanted to use a variety of colors, kind of this lavender, the yellows and oranges, the greens, the pinks, and just have a lot of color because the cover is super colorful. And this is from a little vintage cat's sticker book, and it kind of looked like a yoga cat. It was very silly. So there's just a little tag with some yoga cats. The other side of the envelope with some more coloring book on some coffee-dyed cardstock. This paper ruffle from one of the offcuts from the coloring book. Fun stuff. So, lots of room for photos and writing and whatnot. This was when I dyed the paper with this particular one, I crinkled it up and then dyed it, and it came out really interesting. So I decided I would just leave it like that. So there's a couple of those in here. And you can see both these cat stamps. And I still, as of this video, I still have some of these in my Etsy shop in this size and also a larger size. And they're slightly different. They were drawn slightly different. So they actually are two different cats. But these are really fun to have, like looking out a window or looking at something. So I really like them. And I do still have quite a few in my Etsy shop that I'm selling for circus stamps. And we don't have much stock left. It's almost gone. But that was the idea, retire that line. There's some more yoga kitties on a flip out. Ooh, we're to the back. And I have this rubber stamp. And then I found that one of the yoga kitties was a very similar posture. So put those together. And again, this is just some little bits and pieces. There's a few of those calendar cutouts. There's one more from the box of chocolates. And another remainder from all of those from that scrapbook paper. So I don't have any more of that. I thought, well, let's just add it here, and so there we go. And just a paper ruffle. And there it is. And there's that. And it is a chunky journal for sure. Okay, so let's see. There's my cheat sheet. There are 216 pages front and back, and that includes the scrapbook paper. And so not all of it is writing paper, but there's easily, you can add photos or drawings or anything you want. Could be glued on, clipped on, anything you'd like. 25 tags, 23 writing spots plus, because there's a lot of note paper in there. There's 4 cards that could be mailed, 2 envelopes with some goodies inside, and I'm calling this the Colorful Cats Junk Journal. So I hope that there was something in there to inspire you in your own creativity. Maybe you're not into cats, but you might like dogs. You might like horses. You might like birds. But there's all these fun things available out there. So you know? There. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here and checking all this out. And I hope there was some fun stuff in here to give you some ideas, because that's why I do these videos is I'm having fun, and I hope that I share something that is of value to you. So I look forward to hearing your comments. This is available in my Etsy shop. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching and enjoy your creativity. Bye for now.